They'll be calling you a radical. Oh, I'm going to set the record straight. This is how the scumbag media plays. Now, thank you to the Washington Post, you at least did a piece. But this taking freaking language out of context is bullshit. Let me set the record straight. I was at the trial. I was there, word for word. I did a radio show live from inside the courtroom back before I got it. And let me set the record straight on Megan Rice. First off, I've talked to the nuns. She died of heart failure. At the group of plowshares that Megan Rice is involved with is in Pennsylvania. She died there of heart failure. And I want to set the record straight. These quotes are taken out of context. Number one, it says that she was sentenced to 3 years in prison. And the judge said, there's no doubt in my life you'll be out of prison before is that total bullshit. Let me set the record straight. When she was arrested in 2012, she was not allowed bail. She was not allowed. She was labeled as a terrorist by the Obama administration. I love how you go after Trump. I'll go after Trump. Rightfully so, go after Trump. But anything slides off Obama. He hammered whistleblowers harder than anyone. Ask Aaron Swartz. Megan Rice. They refused to let her out of jail on bail. They labeled her as a terrorist. Greg and Michael also, all three of them. Let's set the record straight. She was put in a holding facility in Georgia that was built to hold for 2 weeks. For 3 years. She sat in a holding facility freaking for 3 years before she ever went to trial. Once she was found guilty, she was held again until sentencing over and over and over. She did well over 5 years in prison. In horrible conditions. And you're going to say, okay, let's get to the quotations in here. So Mary Evelyn Tucker, you could ask Mary Evelyn Tucker, when she walked out of the courtroom after she gave her testimony, the first person she walked up to was Kevin Blanche and hugged me. She's about that tall, by the way. Go ask her. So they caveat her small quote that she is a legacy in Gandhi, Martin Luther King. Let's go back to what she really said. Inside the sentencing, Timothy, Megan Rice kept calling the prosecutor Timothy. The name of him, which he was a ruthless, no good Timothy. And she goes into the incredible, beautiful, the greatest rant I ever heard. She talks about what empire has not collapsed into the decadence, as I call it, the decadence of usury. It's just like what's going on in America right now, where we got ships lined up off the port. We can't even talk about the real problem, the overconsumption out of control. We're consuming 50% of the world's product. I thought Christianity was based on usury. I mean, think about the conditions that these products are coming from, lined up. We're consuming 50%. It's out of control. So let's go back to what Evelyn Tucker really said. Timothy, inside sentencing, called Megan Rice disingenuous. The whole courtroom gasped, including me. I'm telling you, it was a gasp like you never heard. The whole courtroom gasped. Mary Evelyn Tucker gets up there. This is a sentencing hearing. She's the environmental economist from Yale. She says, this is what she said. She says, Timothy, she called him Timothy. You call Megan Rice disingenuous. Are you kidding me? Not only is she not disingenuous, she's the most genuine person in the world. She is the most, and she just went on this beautiful rant. She is in activism, history. She is Gandhi. She is Martin Luther King. She is the most genuine. I've known her since I was a little girl. She is the most genuine person I have ever known in my life. And you call her disingenuous? She tore into freaking Timothy the prosecutor. They don't report that. Then Megan Rice, when she's in her own defense, she was calling him Timothy. Timothy, I want to thank you. Timothy, for putting an 85-year-old peace activist, a disciple of Dorothy Day, in a prison cell, built the hole for 2 weeks, awaiting sentencing for 3 years and turning down the heat to 50 degrees and trying to kill me. Thank you. And she just kept going and going and going. That's what was said. That's what was said. I was there. I was at the freaking potluck. I talked to Quigley the night before. Not only that, this is important. This is recorded in history. It was a snow day that morning. They knew we had a big crowd. Pete Seeger died that morning. They had a single file trying to get into the courtroom. They knew we had a big crowd, and the hearing had already started, and they were delaying us getting in. They blocked us getting in. That's a fact. So this needs to be recorded in history, what really happened. Thank you to the Washington Post for even reporting, but taking these little snippets, Kevin, you did not report the truth. And there's the problem. Now, I want you to really understand who's the media. It's like here, when the moose gets killed. Everybody's fair good fairy tale until I followed out the cops and I videoed the moose dead. That would have never been reported. Then it's funny because they says, oh, we can't get a hold of you. Every single news station called, oh, they found my phone number real quick. Every media source in this freaking state called me on the phone, including Tim, that worthless piece at the Saturn Examiner. I mean, it's pathetic. And they just regurgitate, and they didn't print anything I said. I talked drought, derelict DNR, drought, DNR. How about this big storm we were supposed to get and all this water? We didn't get shit. The drought, so she died of heart failure in Pennsylvania. She's the greatest. You know, Greg and Michael also, when they were in Kansas in prison, they got beat up, almost killed. You know what they went through. Again, I don't agree with the tactics of going to jail, but I sure agree with everything Megan Rice ever said. She was a genius. You know, and they don't report. They tell the disciple of this preacher. Why don't you talk about Dorothy Day? Why don't you talk about her mother, Madeline Rice, who was the greatest? You know, I was in the Nevada test. That's how she's the one that lined me up with Annika. I was very close with Megan in a lot of ways, especially spiritually. That was what was said. Do not ever let this go away from recorded history. Barack Obama was heavily involved in the mega riots. Barack Obama went after freaking whistleblowers harder than anyone. And all you lefties are still on your knees for him. He lost 12 Senate seats. He lost nearly 100 congressional seats. He lost over 1,000 legislative seats. I mean, 10, 15, 20 governorships. You know, he droned more people to death than even Bush. The worst president in history? No doubt in my mind. And Trump not much better. You know, so Evelyn Tucker, when she went on a rant, was because Timothy, and she was fired up. She didn't have a scripted. She wasn't going to say what she said until Timothy called her disingenuous. The prosecutor called Megan Rice disingenuous. And she was fired up, boy. Mary Evelyn Tucker went on a rant in there and said, disingenuous? Are you kidding? We know who's disingenuous, Barack Obama. How about what he did to Aaron Swartz? I was in that courtroom also, fresh out of the bone marrow transplant center. Think about what they've done to Kevin Blanch. Oh my God, it'll be 10 years, just so you know, 10 years tomorrow. If this cancer struck my body, I'll be the first one in the United States, maybe the world, my doctor says, to survive ML de novo OS with a marker this high, 44 DeVoto, willingly without a bone marrow transplant. I got one more day to go. Long live Megan Rice. That's what was said. Disingenuous. You want to call her? She's the most genuine person I've ever known in my life. And she went on this beautiful roundabout, which is true. Never let this ever not be recorded in history. Megan Rice was put in a holding cell and not allowed bail. She had great legal counsel. She had people that rallied around her. And, you know, I remember being at the Knoxville airport, and there's her two nieces, Megan and Megan. And they're like, where's Carl Gallagher? And I'm like, you from Utah, right, Kev? Yeah. Well, I love Carol, don't get me wrong, but I do the work. Who's the fucking media? Who's the fucking media? Long live fucking Megan Rice and her legacy. And never forget it. With Barack Obama, he gave Heyman and Ortiz. They're at Harvard. Not to mention John Holdren, the key to the cover-up of Fukushima inside this. I know who you are, and I saw what you did. I was there. I know word for word what happened in the situation. I know word for word what happened inside the Aaron Swartz case because I was there. Same with the Megan Rice shot because I was there. I almost died that night. I got a gun pulled on me the night before. Thank God for Plowshare, saved my life that freaking day. Never let it be unrecorded and said. Barack Obama refused to let an 85-year-old nun, peace activist, disciple Dover Day, out of jail on bail. And she sat in a freaking holding facility for 3 years. They turned down the temperature to 50 degrees and almost killed her. By the way, when it was somebody in the inside leaked it to me, and I was in Brooklyn. I just happened to be there. You know, God sent you. And I walked over to the women's holding facility in Brooklyn. I was there. Videos to prove it. So this, oh, she'll be out. And the judge says, well, you'll beat this. That's bullshit. He was a prick, the prosecutor. I mean, so is the judge. So, you know, I'm the guy that started the petition. Me and Tony, yeah, that's his real name. Patrick Penry, that's my work. The FOIA documents was masked over. We were trying to hide it so I wouldn't get killed and put into jail. Long live Megan Rice. Long live Megan Rice. Where's the fucking New York Times? So who's the fucking media?